I'm here at the Into the Wild headquarters, deep in the forest, surviving this coronavirus outbreak, about to go release these two beautiful olive snakes. They were just born 2 days ago. They found at someone's house, so I'm going to take them into the wild and release them. I'm about to meet an incredible human being, a theoretical physicist specializing in quantum physics, and she's going to join me on this little walk into the wild, and we're going to go release these two beautiful snakes, and we'll find out a little bit more about what she thinks about the coronavirus and about everything that's going on our planet and beyond. Oh, she's already here sitting on the rocks. Hey Adriana!
Hey.
I don't know how scared you are of snakes, but I brought some cute little babies.
I was wondering there if that was the right spot to meet you. Hey,
How's it
good.
going? This is how we
taking me into the wild today.
This is how we greet each other in South Africa now. Two cute little babies. I think we can release them. Yeah, I see a perfect little spot. Yeah, we'll open them up. These are olive house snakes.
Babies, you say?
Babies. They're known as olive snakes now, but the name has changed quite recently. But through the years, they've always been known as olive house snakes. Now they just call them olive snakes. We'll put them here. I'll give you the honor. Oh, slipping already, yeah? I'll give you the honor of releasing them.
These are harmless, you say?
Harmless, completely harmless. We'll actually see, you can open it up so we can have a look.
They seem to love each other, they're brother and sister.
Yeah, they're all from the same clutch. You can pop that open. You can take them out as a whole.
Look at them, they've really...
They've got a beautiful shine. You can take them out.
Take them out.
A little bit nervous there, Dr. Adriana.
Okay.
Look how cute they are, man.
Perfect little...
Yeah, so they're born out of their little egg and instantly they're separated from their family and they have to go out and hunt.
Well, they know who they want to be.
Yeah, I know, you see, constricting snakes, you can see how strong those little bodies are. Look at that little guy. Sniffing, sniffing. Amazing little snakes. So they'll
be fine, they'll just...
Yes, they will survive or try to survive. This is their habitat. They love to eat little frogs. Did we just drop? No, the other one's there. Jeez, they look like they're one snake, but it's actually... Whoa, we dropped one little one. You can grab one and let one go, and I'll let one go. There's a perfect little habitat right there. You got them?
Oh.
You can give me the top, you can let them go right there in the crack.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it, perfect. Put them down. Two beautiful hatchlings. And now they're on their own. I mean, that's a pretty tough existence. Look how small they are.
So these guys, you reckon, will survive here? I mean, how about you? You do survival training in this environment. If I released you with no supplies under this log here, how long would you give it?
I think if you left me under this log here, I would probably survive for maybe a month. But these guys, I reckon, even if they don't get any food, it's got at least a month or two in them.
So in terms of your surviving for a month, I mean,
if
I've seen a lot of people stockpiling on toilet paper. Would that be something you would consider taking with you into a survival experience, or what would you need, I mean, to survive here for a month?
I find it quite ridiculous that people are stockpiling toilet paper at the moment.
There they go.
That is incredible. They've actually disappeared here. They're actually exploring the habitat, yeah? Look at this little one's tail is there. Hey, there's the other little cutie. Shame, man. Yeah, I don't know what's up with the people stockpiling all this toilet paper, because I don't find that to be a great survival tool, especially because the things get so wet so easily.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's go for a walk. So now we're about to enter this ancient valley, which is known as the Buffels River Valley, and we've had evidence of first man living here for about 100,000 years. So the San Bushmen used to live up here, hunt up here, and at the end of this Buffels River Valley that we're following now, we actually have an opening in like a little cave where they used to live. But we're not going to go that far. We're just going for a little stroll and just enjoying the beautiful fresh air and the forest breeze that we have here on a beautiful hot day in Africa. Just got to get over this. It's a bit thick here. I don't always have the luxury of bringing a doctor in theoretical physics with me, so I've got some quite interesting questions to ask her about what she thinks about the situation on the planet and what is going on in the world of physics. It will be quite interesting to see what's going on. Now I see we're approaching our first real cool spot here, which is we've got wild bananas here, and we've got baboons that love to eat these bananas. So I can see they've completely broken this down. Here we've got a wild banana leaf. They've actually ripped the whole tree apart and they eat the inside fibers of these bananas. So I've got it's quite interesting to see how these primates have been.
And bananas grow
wild, yeah, small little wild bananas.
Banana.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so and I mean these leaves are also great for survival. This is actually better toilet paper in many regards than the toilet people are stockpiling, because you can actually use this to smoke and steam fish and collect all kinds of little herbs and things. You can even roll yourself a little smoking herbal smoke with these leaves, which the same people used to actually do. We get many kinds of flowers out here that was smoked by our ancient cultures. So now getting back to you, Adriana, what can you tell us about what's going on in the outside world? I'm trapped in here in the wild. You've come from there where there's a whole outbreak of viruses and all kinds of things happening. Can you enlighten me and my views about what's happening out there?
Yeah, great to hang out here. I think you can safely say there's no corona down here. So good to get out with you. Thanks for having me. Yeah, I think the level of uncertainty that we all face has just increased in multiple ways. So ultimate uncertainty about how this will pan out, but I mean we have to acknowledge that no one is certain about what the future holds. I mean, for those little snakes we just released, who knows what the next few days will entail, and for the humans, which are only one of many species living on this planet, who are obviously susceptible to this novel coronavirus, well, our future is also even more uncertain perhaps than before. But I think there are multiple ways of looking at it. One is that it's a massive opportunity to think globally. So humans typically are slow to have a really broad view of the issues that they face, you know, because it's easier, of course, for us to focus on the many challenges we face in our sphere of doing things. And when we are confronted with global issues, it takes us some time to get to the point to acknowledge that these global issues impact us all and are truly global. So this is one opportunity, I think, to really think, you know, for example, that healthcare systems all around the world need to be raised to a similar level, because the weakest area where humans have a low level of healthcare will be a vulnerability with respect to the whole species. So it's an opportunity to think about equality, about equal resource distribution, about the healthcare system in particular, about ways of distributing information. I mean, all of these global issues. So those are grand challenges and broad and sort of far-reaching ways of thinking. But on another level, I think we're also forced to think really local. You know, how locally resilient are we in case the shop shelves seem to be empty, which has been the case in places where some people live. How long are we able to survive without all of the centralized systems that we rely upon so heavily? So I think it's a great opportunity to think globally, and a more important opportunity to think about how locally sustainable we are in our current way of doing things.
Wow, that's a real mouthful and quite a lot to think about while we're walking. Yeah, I feel that we need to learn or take a page out of the book of the wild. I feel like we have all these animals that have found a way to edge out of existence out in these rural environments with very little, and where we as humans have become so dependent on this economical system that as soon as there's a big virus or something that hits us, then we are in serious trouble. Not because we can't survive as a species, but because we've made ourselves so dependent on the system that we've created, this artificial system that doesn't even really promote love and respect really. It's more about greed and taking away from your neighbor, and almost like stockpiling and hoarding what you've got. I mean, look how beautiful it is out here. You can't say as a theoretical physicist that work in labs and spend many of your years in university studying, that this doesn't just reset you or give you a feeling of bliss.
Yeah, I mean, for me, as a theoretical physicist, the world, or actually the universe, could be considered my laboratory. But the reason I studied quantum biology was actually because I wanted to be able to touch something that I studied. And by studying photosynthesis, after all the years of studying things like photons and electrons, things that you don't ever get to touch, you know, maybe you see evidence of them through experimental apparatus, but to be able to know that this process here, which I had the opportunity to study in great detail, harnesses quantum effects to optimize its function, is amazing. You know, we're trying to build quantum computers, and now we notice at this point of simultaneously to try to build a quantum computer, we notice that photosynthetic organisms, that includes bacteria, algae, plants, actually use some of the principles that may become useful to us. So they're ahead of the curve in terms of perhaps some of the ways in which they use the laws of nature to function. On the other hand, I think if I could break that down to something useful for us, is that photosynthetic systems manage to, you know, harness quantum effects and live through sunlight by using abundant resources. And I think this is maybe the important message, that you know, we may be able to build like highly efficient photovoltaic panels from rare metals that we dig out of the earth, but this kind of non-locally sustainable practice, I think, is what we're reaching the end of the lifetime of.
Wow.
Plants extract what they need from, let me grab a nice handful, this. So we need to look at what is below us, what is above us, whether it's a gas resource or an earth resource, but what is really locally available to us, and build what we need to survive from that. That's what plants do. And I think more than the efficiency of photosynthesis that we should marvel at is actually the way in which they use the abundant resources right around them in order to function in a highly optimized way. So beautiful. I mean, we should have a lot of respect, you know, as you casually step on, and we're probably killing some organisms as we go here. We should have a really deep respect for the 4 billion years of research and development that's gone into these
Wow,
guys
it is incredible.
functioning so well.
It is amazing that that in such a span of time, something so diverse and beautiful is formed, and then we come along. Whoa. The rocks are slippery here, folks. We come along, and we just try to change the system. Like, this system has had so much time to adapt, and now we think in 200,000 years, or maybe say a million years, we can implement a new system. And it's definitely not working, and that's why there's so much stress. And that's why I enjoy bringing people out from all walks of life deep into the wild, because you can see that's where we all belong. There's a sense of ease when you're out here. You forget about the troubles that this economical system creates. Let's head a little bit more inland here, get off the river for a bit, and then see if we can traverse through all of this. While we're walking as well, keep your eyes open for all kinds of creatures. In this forest we do have some venomous snakes, boomslang, we have some night adders, and then we've also got scorpions. There's leopard here, and then we also have smaller cat species like the caracal, obviously the baboons and the vervet monkeys, and then also some genets, and one of my favorites out here is the clawless otter, which I run into quite often. And then the secretive nice dwarf chameleon, small little chameleon. So keep your eyes open as you're moving, and maybe we will run into something as we're going. But yeah, I'm really honored to have someone of Adriana's caliber with me on the walk, because I feel it's important for people to see that no matter how intelligent you are, from what walk of life you come, we can all share our knowledge and somehow find a little niche where we can all pull together and do stuff together and come up with new philosophies
Well, I must
to better
say,
the system.
if it had to be in this particular environment with you that I ended up, it wouldn't be a bad place to be, given that this is your hood.
Yeah, well, I'm quite surprised. We've already traversed quite a distance here, and you had to come all the way down that mountain. So I always had this thing where I thought these scientists, like especially theoretical physicists, would spend a lot of time indoors, but you obviously do quite a lot of outdoor stuff. You love diving and running and all kinds of things.
Well, for someone who wants to go and live on Mars, I think one has to be multi-talented.
I forgot to even mention that she's wants to live on Mars one day.
Yeah, since I was a young child, I've loved exploring, looking for sources of water, seeing all the different creatures that live, I mean, which is a lot of what you do, but the scale in which I'm thinking of it on is, you know, what kind of environment is required for humans to survive in. And I think on Earth, increasingly, we're seeing people living in extreme environments already. I mean, there are billions of embarrassing is the wrong word. It's absolutely shocking and unacceptable that billions of us live without proper shelter, access to power, clean water, nutritious food. So this is the extreme environments in which many people, you know, without the economic capability to live any other way, survive every day. So I think this thinking somehow is related to the idea of wanting to go live on Mars, because this is also an extreme environment. So what we do at Proudly Human, which is the movement that I founded last year, is develop research and technology towards building communities in extreme environments, because we believe that whether you're under coronavirus quarantine, living in a refugee camp, an informal settlement, a crowded city center, or a base on the moon and Mars, in fact, the requirements, the minimum level of requirements for a community are the same. And that's technology that can provide cheap, robust, and efficient access to power, clean water, nutritious food, communication systems, and shelter. So we hope to address these global challenges in terms of United Nations sustainability goals, as well as towards the requirements for putting humans on Mars under the same umbrella, because these are the requirements of humans, whatever planet we're on. So we endeavor to, create environments that are alleviating of poverty here on Earth in terms of technology development, but also to put together the first infrastructure setups that will enable the first communities to, imagine that broadcast coming from Mars back down to Earth. Guys, we've just, made our first dinner. Maybe we even brewed some beer. We've planted our gardens. We've got our communication systems up and running. We've been here a few weeks, and we can now say we are living on Mars. The systems that we would have used on Mars to achieve that are really the systems that we need to scale out here.
Right now. And my question is, this movement that you've started, Proudly Human, can anyone join the movement?
Follow us on social media, contribute your projects to our thinking.
So even a person like me that's living here out in the wild, training people to live, I can contribute to this movement.
I think we owe it to all of the generations that have come before us. I mean, there's been a lot of blood, sweat and tears and love put into getting to the point where we are now as a society. We owe it to those generations past. We owe it to generations coming. In spite of our detrimental effect on the environment in recent decades, we owe it to the generations coming to have some sense of pride about where we're going, I think, and that's what Proudly Human is about. So indeed, anyone, especially appreciation of nature, is something that I think is most certainly Proudly Human, but I think any activity or belief or idea or anything, any person who believes that what they are doing instills them and others with a sense of pride, that's something we want to
So the movement has just started now. We've started now.
Hashtag Proudly Human.
And there we go, people. So we need to join into this movement and make a change. Go and subscribe or follow the Proudly Human pages, and let's see if we can bring a change to this horrible system that we've created, this artificial system. While we are traversing through this thick forest, I think we're going to head down to the riverside again. Just always keeping my eyes open that I don't end up stepping on a snake or hurting any of the bigger creatures. Let's work our way through here. There's a beautiful little frog. There it goes. Look at the jumping power of these frogs. Wow, that is incredible, swimming across. Another very big indicator of how healthy your ecosystem is the frog, because they are very sensitive to any pollutants. This river is pretty untouched. Look at this. This is definitely a baboon eating out.
Oh, what's that?
These are the little bananas.
Oh.
Yeah, the dried skin. So you can see there, it's been eaten out. And there's your, so obviously the baboon climbed up there.
And
it's a tree. That's like almost like the pollen. So you have insects, yeah. Oh. But it's already eaten out the little. It makes like these little dry pips. It's not like a banana that we used to. It's a wild banana. Just look at how stunning this is around here. Look at that, ancient valley. Incredible.
Definitely no corona panic down here.
No. It's for me. I feel very privileged to be in Africa in an environment like this where these kind of things don't really affect me too much. Actually, I've had an increase of people wanting survival tips because people are starting to panic, and I'm always had the honor to be stuck out in the wilderness. So I've never been faced with all the realities, such as yourself, that travel around the world. I mean, you must travel quite a lot.
Well, I think we're all having to rethink now how we do things. It's clear that our technology is developing rapidly right now, more rapidly than we have on record has happened ever before. But is this trajectory sustainable? And I don't even think that's an open question anymore. I think it's fairly clear to everybody who's thought about this question that our current trajectory is not sustainable. And whether it's the outbreak of a virus or the climate shift that's happening because of our impact on the planet on a global scale, I think we have to rethink the way we're doing things. So we know that the coronavirus is not necessarily deadly to everyone that it infects, so this is maybe the issue that we're facing now, but I think the larger lesson is a more important one, which is, are we capable of addressing the issues that we face as a result of the current model that we're living in? And I think the answer is no. I don't think the system is capable of addressing
So in your
it.
experience of traveling around the world, and you've been to almost every country or every continent on the planet.
Every continent, 7. Last year I went to Antarctic. So.
Wow. So that's impressive. I mean, I don't travel nearly as much, so you've got quite a good sense of what's going on the global system, because what you do is you travel. So from your experience, do you feel like even the most rural place you've been to, we can all implement the same system and live together?
Well, I think more we have to recognize that we do all live in the same system, you know. I mean, people think going to Mars sounds terrifying, or, you know, but essentially we're all space traveling already. We all live on this closed system called Earth, and the only thing that comes in is sunlight, pretty much. And we're all stuck here effectively, unless some of us get the opportunity to go and live on Mars, which I believe will happen soon. But we're all faced with a finite set of resources here on Earth, and I think we have to acknowledge that the needs of people are standard. Humans all over the world, whatever their culture or background or training or economic status may be, people are people.
Yeah.
And these people are our people. I think we increasingly need to think of it as us. We increasingly need to think of it as our planet, our global issues, and take responsibility. You know, the time for being able to isolate yourself in a valley, or maybe someone like you could literally do that. But I think for the rest of us, we're realizing that, you know, having the internet, living in this global village, of putting us all in touch is an opportunity to understand what it is to be human, what brings us all together, and I think that's our ability to imagine a reality beyond the world that we currently live in. And if on many other levels we're going to learn from this pandemic, but on that aspect, I would emphasize, for me, would be the core of what we should learn from this, is that we have the capability to imagine a reality beyond the world we currently live in. So what better time to focus on that now, in this time of, you know, recalculating, let's say, and think of a society that we'd want to live in, one we'd be proud of. I mean, if extraterrestrials came to visit Earth and asked us to explain our system, you know, what aspects of that would you be proud of?
Yeah.
And that's what Proudly Human is trying to spread the word, that we should be doing everything with pride. You know, you only live once, as far as we know, and that's a good motivation to spend as much time putting pride into every aspect of our daily lives, and even thinking on larger scales of how we're going to shift the system to something we'd be proud of.
Wow, that is a lot to think about. At least I've got a lot of downtime now with this virus interrupting us, so I can think about all this stuff. It's always great to have someone with such vast knowledge and intelligence to inspire, because I think that's what we need more than anything, is these kind of humans like Adriana here, to inspire us to join a new movement and to think differently. Even though I'm not really part of the world out there, I still believe it's important that we have these kind of leaders. Oh, look at this, a tiny newborn baby frog.
Oh.
New little baby. He's just come out of tadpole state. He's still got a little bit of a back tail. This little cute little guy. Look at that. Cute. And let's go put you back in the water.
So baby frogs live by themselves. They're able to...
Also, they're tadpoles, and then this guy's still got a little. He's just lost his tail. Oh, there he goes. There you go, boyki. Jump into the water. There we go. Jump. Now he's all chilled. Here you go, in the water. There he goes. Look at him swim. Cute, man. And those are your little river frogs. They're all over the place here, and they obviously feed those snakes that we released earlier. So that little olive snake we released earlier is going to be on the hunt for exactly that we just released there. And that's what I love about understanding about nature. Everything fits together so well, like a puzzle. And if we can pull that system into reality in our world, I think we will do quite well. So let's try and cross. We've got quite a bit of a crossing here to do. So do you enjoy hikes and things like that?
Oh yeah, I've been lucky enough to grow up with parents who are into the mountains and forests and beaches, a lot of children, so it's been a constant aspect of my life, getting away. And in spite of having founded Proudly Human as a movement for technology and research, one of my favorite things to do is to get rid of all technology and experience this planet as it's been, far beyond the time that we've been around.
Okay, this is our last little sketchy part. Okay, gonna balance here. Okay, so we get through here. Oh, what an experience this is. To have someone of that caliber join me in the wild. Well, I think we've gotten to the point where I am going to head deeper in, and I normally leave my guests here and I have to find the way back. Hopefully you have kept some sort of note or dropped some breadcrumbs, I don't know. Anyways, you're a theoretical physicist.
If I get lost following a river, then I don't think Mars is really a journey for me.
Well, it was lovely meeting you.
Yeah,
and thanks for the inspirational talk. And where can we hit you up? What's your social media platform?
Yeah, Proudly Human, Adriana Marais, we're everywhere. Use our hashtag when you feel proud of something that you've seen or something that you've done, and let's work towards a proudly human future, whatever planet we're on.
Nice. One more.
Thanks, Kurdt.
Cheers.
Good luck.
Thank you. Okay, I gotta cross this river. So if you guys want to tune in next week, I will take some other random character into the wild, and we will see what kind of inspirational message they have for us, because I believe we can learn from everyone, all walks of life, and take that inspiration and implement it in our daily lives. And I think we can get rid of all these issues that we're dealing with on this planet quite easily. We have all the resources, we all have love in our hearts, and let's stop being greedy and following these old systems that have been created to only benefit a small amount of our population. I'm out.